Saturday night, Arlington beat DC in the XFL championship game. And Luis Perez, former Texas A&M Commerce quarterback, threw 4 touchdowns, was named the MVP. And when we were back where we were before, when A&M Commerce won a national championship, Colby Carthel was the head coach. He's now at my alma mater, Stephen F. Austin. I think we may have spoken to Luis during the season on their way to the national title, and what a story this is. Luis Perez joins us, Paul Catalina and Craig Smoke on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. How cool was that Saturday night, young man?
Unbelievable moment. Man, just crazy how things work out from first, starting off with the Vegas Vipers and getting traded halfway through the season to then winning a championship. You couldn't have written a better script.
You guys were 4-6 heading into the playoffs. I mean, that was, you were not picked to win. DC was the presumptive favorite. What came together these last few weeks where you guys really gelled and got hot?
Yeah, so I think offensively in particular, I think we just got more comfortable with each other, just talking receivers and quarterbacks, tight ends. And Coach did a phenomenal job putting us in a good position to succeed, and each week, for a quarterback, each week you get more and more comfortable in the offense. So if you just go back and watch our games, you can kind of see that each week when I was in the lineup, you can see that I'm just getting more and more comfortable, as we were getting going.
How about if I say this, because you're probably too humble? You got more comfortable. Others around you got more comfortable. But how about the fact when you became a part of that team, that's when things took off?
Yeah, I think there was a lot more to it than just me. But again, we have a great, support staff, great coaching staff, great players, great culture. And I think, when I got there, it was pretty easy to just kind of fall in line. The guys really embraced me when I got there. And it was kind of a perfect match, to be honest. And, winning it was kind of the result of it.
What did Bob Stoops say to you when you arrived?
We just had a conversation. He said, "Hey, man, we're excited to have you and get ready to compete for the starting job this week." And that's about that. And, I did that and won it that week.
So here's the story. There's a lot of nuggets. I talked to Coach Carthel, so I've got weapons here for you, some great stuff that I did not know. What did you star at when you were in high school?
So I was actually a tight end my freshman year of high school.
Were you also involved in bowling?
Yeah. So I was in bowling.
How many 300 games did you roll?
I got 12 perfect games.
Oh my gosh. If I bowl like a 109, I won't bowl for 6 years.
Yeah, because you've done it.
That's it. I'm like, look, that was good.
I think my best, seriously, is like a 190, and I don't even remember it.
No gutter balls for all frames.
Yeah.
I'm buying rounds for the whole alley.
So how in the world did you go from being what was elite bowlers, because there's national championships in college for those, but how did you end up like morphing into playing football? Or did you do both at the same time, and it was just bowling was what you were really good at?
So that's a great question. So I initially, when I was a kid, the dream was to play football and be a quarterback. That was the dream I had when I was a kid. I was that kid that would sleep with a football, take it to the store, throw it around in the aisles. That was me all the way. Now, I fell in love with bowling when I was about 10 or 11 years old. So that kind of took a turn because I tried out my freshman year of high school, and we ran a wing tee offense. So if you know anything about wing tee, you don't really throw the quarterback. You're more handing the ball off. You throw it about 3 or 4 times a game. So it really wasn't what I anticipated when I was playing the position. And, at that same time, I was doing really well in bowling. I would rush out of practice, football practice. I would get to my bowling league. I'd be tired. I wouldn't bowl as good. So it was kind of affecting my bowling game, and I wasn't really having fun playing football. And then they ended up switching me to tight end. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bowl. So I just bowled throughout high school, all those 4 years. And the real moment that really sparked everything to change my path was it was the last home game my senior year of high school. And my buddies ended up convincing me to go to the game. And I'm in the stands, and I'm just watching my buddies run through that tunnel. And I get the goosebumps, and I'm just like, man, what am I doing up here? I need to be playing football. you have such a small window to pursue football, physically for your body. Bowling, you can bowl, shoot. You're 80 years old, right? So in that moment, I said, you know what? It's time to go back to this football dream.
How did you teach yourself, or who was your instructor, or how did you become a quarterback?
So my first initial thought was, let me go on YouTube. So I went on YouTube and I remember typing, hey, how to become a quarterback. I didn't know anything about coverages, fronts, route combinations. All I knew was I can throw a nice spiral. That's about it. That's all I knew. And so after that, I did that for a few months. And then I ended up finding out that actually a good buddy of mine, his uncle is Achilles Smith. I don't know if you guys know that name.
Yeah,
he was the third pick draft. Yeah, so I got with him, and he trained me for another few months before I got the walk-on opportunity at Southwestern Community College.
You taught yourself how to play quarterback on YouTube.
Partially, yes.
So you just watched who? Like, just I'm gonna pick up Joe Montana. Yeah. I'll go there, and then you just went on and on.
Yeah. So my first official kind of video, I remember it. It was more of like a technique standpoint. It was more of like how to grip a football, how to properly grip a football, how to throw a football, throwing mechanics. So I did that for a couple of weeks. Then it was more of like, hey, let me understand the game. Then it became like, okay, let me, watching tutorials on like coverages, cover 2, cover 3, what zones to attack in each coverage. And then it got to, hey, let me watch some Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, some of these guys, and let me see how they just play the game. And I would just turn on their tape and I would just watch, and try to pick stuff up from there. And then, obviously when I got with Achilles Smith, we got in a lot more detail with, combinations, footwork, all that stuff. And that's really when it skyrocketed there, was when I got with Achilles. And then obviously getting that walk-on opportunity was huge.
All right, so if I start watching John Rahm play golf on YouTube, does that make me a better golfer? I mean, come on. That's still an amazing story. So you go to junior college, and what, your second year, is that right, you start?
Yeah, so I come in the first year, and, I was living that Division I dream because I had a pretty good sophomore season and in junior college. So I was thinking, hey, I was going to go to Division I. I had the prototypical size. I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to live that Division I dream. I got an offer from UC Davis. My math wasn't transferable for UC schools, so I couldn't go Division I in California for UC schools. So then I was like, hey, I got to go Division II. And, the goal initially when I first started playing was, hey, I'm doing this because I want to go to the NFL. So I ended up researching, what Division II quarterbacks were actually in the NFL. And there was one guy, and the guy's name was Dustin Vaughn. And Dustin Vaughn played for Don Carthel at West Texas A&M.
Huh.
So I found that out, that he went there and he played for Don Carthel. Then I figured out that Don wasn't coaching anymore. I found out that Colby was coaching. So I said, hey, this guy did it. Why can't I go to Commerce and do the same thing?
It's an amazing story. So you go there, and I believe, and I'm kind of sharing some of this information, what string quarterback were you when you arrived at A&M Commerce?
A&M Commerce, when I got there, I believe there was about six quarterbacks, and we didn't really have a particular depth chart when I got to Commerce. Where I was really buried on the depth chart was when I walked on in junior college at Southwestern. I was ninth in the depth chart there before working my way up to play. But no, I would say I was, fourth or fifth coming in, redshirting. And then that next year they let me compete for the starting job, and that's when I won it.
Luis Perez, the quarterback of the Renegades, they won the XFL championship. How cool was it to get to meet The Rock? What was that like with Dwayne Johnson?
Oh, he's awesome. He's such a just inspiration to so many young men. And, he's so humble too. The guy, so knowledgeable, so humble. You can see the kindness and just the pure positive vibes he gives out. You can tell he's a genuinely good person. And no, it was honestly a surreal moment getting to meet him, shake his hand, and give him a hug.
Luis Perez with us on 365 Sports. Will you share the story of you calling Coach Carthel when you were at A&M Commerce? You are from San Diego, but for some reason you decided to drive with your wife to Kansas City in December. Can you? This is another one of these just turns of this story that never ends.
Yeah, so this was my junior year. So after we had played, we lost to Grand Valley State that year in the playoffs, and I was really bummed out. I mean, it took a toll on me that we lost. We shouldn't have lost that game. And I ended up saying, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to go to the national championship next year. I said, I want to go see what it's like to go to the stadium, see the atmosphere, because I want to be ready when I play there next year. So my wife and I, she ends up saying, all right, let's go. I have to, put me through some chores to let me go. So anyway, so I do that, and we drive, and, it's probably 2 or 3 inches of snow. I mean, it was -5 degrees with wind chill. We go out there, and we watch the game in, like, -5-degree weather. And we're watching the game, and I'm just like, man, like, I took my notebook. I was taking notes because we were actually going to play that team, North Alabama. We were going to play them the first game of the year the next year. So I was kind of scouting / kind of seeing what the atmosphere was like playing in a national championship. But yeah, we went out there just to check it out.
And did you call Coach Carthel?
Yes, I called him. I told him, hey, I was going to the game.
His quote to me was, you called him after the game. Coach, we can do this. We can beat these guys.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I called him. I said, hey, Coach, like, we can play here next year, and we can beat North Alabama the first game of the year. And sure enough, we beat North Alabama first game of the year, and we won it all.
Went on to win it. This is a possibility of some sort of movie. I'm not over-exaggerating. And some people, let's be honest with you, about on the chat room, they're like, the XFL, this and that. This is not just about that. You won the championship. This is an incredible story, a human interest story with Luis Perez, the quarterback of the Arlington Renegades. Do you think you're going to get a call from anybody in the NFL?
I sure hope so. That's not in my hands, but I sure hope so. Hopefully I did enough these last couple of weeks to kind of ensure my spot in the NFL. But again, who knows? I'm going to have a talk with my agent this week and kind of see what to do from there.
So what do you do until then? Do you just go about your business? What do you do until you wait for the call? It's like a player that's not drafted, and there's a lot of undrafted free agents that sign with teams. What happens with you now?
Yeah, so I'm going to take, probably a day or two to kind of relax, decompress, and then get right back at it, get back to training and stay ready because, when you play football in the spring, like I've done the last 6 years, there's really no off season because you play in the spring to be able to play in the fall, right? So you can't ever let up. There's no time to rest because at any point you can get that call. And if you're not ready and they give you that call, I don't want to live with that regret of, man, what if I was training and I was ready and I would have made the most of the opportunity. So again, there's really no off season.
Coach Carthel told me that he was with you the night or the day after that. I don't know if you were walking around the Riverwalk or whatever, but he noticed you were wearing a certain type of shoes, like sandals. Why?
Oh, the Crocs? I was wearing some Crocs.
Yeah. Was there something wrong with your foot?
No. It was just kind of, sometimes I don't like wearing shoes because of my.
Oh, okay. He had told me he
yeah.
thought you had injured your foot and you still played on Saturday night in the win for Arlington against DC Defenders. All right, last thing. So you YouTubed yourself into a quarterback, right?
Yep.
You were naturally an elite bowler, correct?
Correct.
How did you learn how to play billiards?
Oh, yeah. You must have had some long conversation with Coach Carthel, huh? Yeah, Coach, man. So, Coach Carthel, from the day I got there, pool kind of just intrigued me. It was kind of a fun game. I didn't really know how to play it much. But every time I played against Coach Carthel, I mean, he would just whoop my butt every time. So, my first instinct was, all right, let me get on YouTube. And I went on YouTube and I started figuring out, how to put English on the ball, how to hold the cue stick, how to, watching some of these guys, how they play. And sure enough, I just got better and better and was able to beat him a few times.
Yeah, he's not happy about telling me that story. Well, he was not. He was, in fact, he kind of just shared that with me because I've known Colby for a while. And he goes, listen, I'm not thrilled about telling you, but he probably beat me 9 of the last 10 times. And he taught himself to play quarterback and play billiards through YouTube.
Yeah, no, me and Coach Russell probably played maybe 300 games You know, we would sit at the pool table for hours and play, and we've had a good time doing that.
Well, now, Luis, you can learn how to cook on there. There's a lot of things. If you are Yeah. I mean, look, if you
do anything on there.
Look, if you've learned how to play quarterback and have learned it well enough to where you got yourself a college scholarship and you're a professional athlete now, and billiards to where you feel confident enough where you can beat people, then if you start cooking, you could be like a Michelin star restaurant 5-6 years from now.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
It is incredible. I know you had taken your family to the airport. Are they on their way, and then you're going to see them down the road? How's that working out?
Yeah, so I live in San Diego right now. They'll go back home. I have some other obligations that I have to do the next few days, so I'm going to stay here for a few more days. And then from there, I'm going to go back home and see what happens from there.
Well, Luis, it's a great story. We appreciate it. I remember the year you guys made the run at A&M Commerce to win the national title. It's been fun. Now, you did mention in the halftime speech, I don't know what you said in the postgame. I kind of had it off from the side, and we know Abram Smith, he played at Baylor, who was a hell of a player for D.C. and had a couple of touchdowns in that game. But you said at halftime that you guys are just a few minutes away from being the world champions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no XFL anywhere else but the U.S. But we're still world champs in my eyes.
I love it, man. I love your confidence. Love your story. I'm so glad that we are able to get you on the show, and I appreciate you. I know it's a very, very busy day for you. We appreciate your time, and good luck going forward, young man.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Luis Perez, MVP of the XFL championship game. I saw some reaction to the